The views and opinions expressed on this program are those of the participants and do not reflect the views of BronxNet or the program underwriters.
BronxNet. Your voice, your views, your vision.
Back, everybody. I'm your host, Dr. Bob Lee. Our first guest is a registered dietitian and nutrition consultant, Fiorella DeCarla, and she does a lot of things in our community and always has a wealth of information. She joins us here today to share about the dangers of fad diets. There's a lot of fad diets out there. Sometimes you stay up late night and you see them, some of them on TV.
Yeah.
You know? Tell us about some of them that stand out.
You know, and that really, at the bare minimum, fad diets don't work, and at their worst, can actually harm you. Mm-hmm. So it's really important to know the differences between the diets and what people are actually promoting. Mm-hmm. And in my experience lately, one of the biggest things that have been coming across to me are these juice fasts. Yeah. You know, people who will go on juice fast for 3 days or for a week, and it's very, very trendy. There are a lot of juice bars opening up that kind of cater to this particular diet or this particular fast.
But what does that do, like a juice diet?
Well, this is what
some people think it's pretty good.
Well, there's something that they think that it's going to do, and then there's what actually happens to the body when you're on a juice fast. So what people think is going to happen in the way these juice diets are promoted to the public are that they are somewhat a cleanse for your body. Mm-hmm. That when you are fasting for the certain amount of days and just having juice, you're getting concentrated nutrients from the juice, and you are cleansing the toxins from your body. Now, what is actually happening...
That part is probably okay.
Well, this is the thing. There are no toxins in your body that are going to be cleansed through a juice fast. That's the big problem. You know, what are toxins and where are they located in the body? And even if they were in your bloodstream, what does a juice fast that goes through your digestive tract have to do with that? Now, the difference though is that if you're coming off of a kind of not that great diet, if you're going on a fast food diet, high in sugar and so on, and then you're going into a juice cleanse, some of the things that I hear people say is like, you know, wow, I feel lighter, I have more energy, I feel better. Well, that could happen from going from a fast food diet to a balanced diet as well. You don't have to go from a fast food diet to a juice diet to have the same feeling. Yeah. So the extreme is not necessary. And then there are also dangers to the extreme. Mm-hmm. So what does it actually do to your body, a juice fast? So this is what happens. Your body naturally is not meant to fast. It is not. It is meant to eat every 4 hours because there are certain hormones and blood sugar levels that are supposed to act in a certain way only with the accompaniment of food in your body. Mm-hmm. So if you're not having food in your body, several things happen. First, your body goes into a starvation state, which is partly what people are demonstrating. They are starting to feel, I feel so much energy. You know what the energy is?
What?
Starvation. Because if you think of us as animals, our evolutionary brain, when we starve, we get a burst of energy in order for us to go get more food, to go forage for food.
Track down a deer or something
exactly.
like that.
So it's kind
Run
of...
it down and tackle it.
And tackle it and get it, you know, and take it in. And, you know, so that is what everyone is feeling. That burst of energy is actually starvation, right? Oh. And that would only last for a certain amount of time before, you know, that runs out. So that is the psychological effects of starvation, is that you get a burst of energy.
So then what we see on TV or reading the newspapers is bad press? Or,
well, it's
or press taking us to another area?
It's an
leading us to believe
well, I think
something different?
Well, this is what I think. I think the product in of itself is not a bad product. For example, if you juice and you have a juice a day with other food, that's amazing, great. Mm-hmm. But a juice a day in lieu of other food can have some damaging
But
effects.
what makes it so popular, though?
What makes it popular is that it gives people a very quick fix. For example, if you don't eat for 3 days or 4 days, you're going to lose some weight. You're going to lose some water weight. So initially, a person will believe that they've actually lost weight. So that is the quick fix of how people get really caught up in juice fasts, because of that temporary. But what happens is that you're slowing your metabolism in the meantime because your body's starving. And then as soon as you put any food or drink in your mouth after that fast, you gain all the weight back. So it really doesn't work at the end.
So then what do we do if we wanted to detoxify or cleanse?
Well, the word itself, to detoxify and cleanse, right, is a misnomer. What you want to do is you want to get a balanced diet in order to eat properly so that your systems all function in check. So, for example, if you want to eliminate waste from your body, there is one way to do that, right, and that is through your colon, right? In terms of the toxins and cleansing of body, that is a misrepresentation of the word given the way that your body functions. So, in order to feel better, what you want to do is you want to turn your lifestyle into a more balanced diet where you're fully hydrated, you have fiber, you're able to cleanse your colon regularly every day.
Yeah.
So that would make more sense in terms of actually using the body for what it's meant for.
So then everything would fall in line. You want everything, the pHs and all that stuff to be in line.
Exactly. The goal is to have your body homeostatic, to get a state of balance. And so to do that is to feed the body. Not feeding the body is actually its unnatural state.
So a lot of water is recommended. Huh?
Absolutely. Most people, and they don't think so when they're less active in the winter, but most people do need about 1 to 1.5 liters a day minimum, depending on their height, depending on their activity level. And a lot of people do drink, during the winters as well as the summers.
Yes. So how many of these do I need?
So you need about 8 of those a day.
8 of these?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
A minimum.
A minimum of 8.
Yeah, and so your organs are properly hydrated. It will complete the peristalsis in your gut in terms of being able to cleanse your body better. In order to having a high fiber diet without hydration is going to be counterproductive.
Does it show on your skin if you don't drink enough
water?
water?
Oh, absolutely. Not only the things that show on your skin, interestingly enough, are low fat diets and low hydration. Those are the number one things that I can tell on someone's skin, particularly in the winter. I can tell someone when they're on a low-fat diet and when they're not properly hydrated. And remember, the caffeine also hinders as well. Alcoholic beverages and caffeine will also strip your body of hydration. So for every glass or cup of coffee that you have, you should counter it with another glass of water.
Yeah. See, a lot of people don't think that. And I'm guilty of it also. I don't drink enough
It's
water.
hard. It's very, very hard to kind of remember to do it, particularly with water. It is very quenching, but we're so, we're so used to having flavors and everything that we don't get attracted. So what I do sometimes is I do put a little bit of flavoring in the water just so that it entices me to drink it more, like some sort of like lemonade type situation. And that makes it much easier to drink instead of just kind of like plain water.
And eliminate the sugars. Sugars and starches.
Well, you want to minimize them, right? Because at the end of the day, our brain does run on glucose, so we do need some starch in our diet in order for that to function. You'll see in a lot of very low-carb diets or Atkins diets, people will get like kind of a brain fog. They won't be able to concentrate. They won't have a lot of, because the brain runs on glucose, But what you want to do is, if you look at our culture, we do take in too many carbs sometimes, It's just kind of, it is the cheapest food. Right? It is the cheapest food. So when you go out to restaurants, if you look at your plate, what is the biggest portion? The starches are, because the truth is the restaurant knows that's their cheapest product.
And it'll fill you up.
And it'll fill you up.
Oh, that was a great meal. I'm full. Oh, I'm satisfied.
Right. So they know. So things have become more and more supersized. But, at our detriment, because we really don't have a high level of activity during our day that could really maintain that level of starch in our diet.
Back to these fad diets. Many people lose weight on these diets, and they're still unhealthy.
Well, yes, in particular with the juice diet, what I was saying.
But they accomplish their goal of losing the weight
for temporary time.
So that's why a lot of people complain that the weight comes back right away.
Right. And of course it is, because if I would look at it and understand the diet for what it is, anything that is that extreme is bound to bounce back. There's no way you are setting yourself for, actually for the disaster. You're walking into those juice fasts knowing that, well, hopefully knowing now that we've discussed it, that you are slowing your metabolism.
Yeah.
And that's not what you want. In any diet situation, what you're trying to do is you're trying to set up your system to where it burns calories more efficiently every 4 hours. And in order to do that, you need to eat. So there is a big difference between going from one extreme to the other. The juice fast is absolutely not necessary. And as a matter of fact, I would say this. You can add juices to your diet with a balanced diet, and that's great. But quite frankly, I actually prefer smoothies over juices.
Oh.
And there's reasons for that as well.
What's the reason for that?
Well, with a smoothie, what you can do is you can add several items in there. For example, instead of just having vegetables or fruit, you can also add other things. You can add sources of protein, which keep you fuller longer and boost your metabolism. You can also add some fats in there. For example, some avocado, which allows some of the other nutrients from the vegetables to be absorbed in your body better than if they're just taken in alone, right?
Those are the good fats. The avocado.
Absolutely. And the avocado in a smoothie actually adds the same type of creaminess that a banana would. If you've ever tried it, it's really great.
Oh,
it kind of makes it thick.
So you have to come one day and we'll put a stand
And do
up and
it.
you can,
and demonstrating how delicious it could be.
Mm-hmm.
And then the final and most important piece in the difference between a smoothie and a juice is that you're leaving the fiber intact in the vegetables and fruit in a smoothie because you're just blending it. Whereas in a juicer, you are extracting the fibers left in the juicer, and you need that fiber. That is the most important component of that vegetable.
Yeah.
The vitamins are great too, but really, in unison, it's the best thing for you to do.
Tell us, it's going to be winter in a couple of days or about a week or so. Should we be eating seasonally?
Well, I think that the seasonal foods now are at their most nutrient dense. So you really would be missing out on a lot of vitamins if you didn't eat seasonally, A lot of the orange vegetables, right? Like the squashes and, the pumpkins and so forth. The Brussels sprouts, the cruciferous vegetables are great right now. The cabbages, amazing cancer-fighting properties in them. So absolutely. And when they're in season, they're cheaper. So it's best to grab them now.
Because a lot of people eat the same thing all year round, just about. Some variety here. But the seasonal foods
are amazing. Yes. And you know what? Do buy them in abundance, because some people say, well, I can't buy too many of them because they just sit in my refrigerator and go bad. Listen, buy them, cut them up, and freeze them. Vegetables are great frozen. Get them instant, freeze them, and then take them out of your refrigerator, whenever you want. And you can do it that way, and they won't go bad, and you will have great seasonal products.
You can add them to your smoothie.
Absolutely. Except not the cauliflower. That would stink.
But would it be good?
It would be good, but I think you'd probably have some trouble going down. But definitely, you know what you could do, though, in the wintertime to boost your immune system with your smoothies? A little bit of raw garlic. If you're brave enough, you can put some raw garlic in there.
And try to go get a new girlfriend, right?
Probably. Good idea.
Or go out on a date.
Right after the smoothie. Not
Everybody
advised.
in the front row and back row.
I know.
What is that?
Yeah, give yourself some time.
But thank you so much. You always have a wealth of information for us here, right here on Open. Give us some information where we can reach you.
Great. Fitwithfiorella.com. You can reach me there, and you can follow me on Twitter as well.
Fiorella DeCarlo, give her another big round of applause, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. Okay? And stay warm. It's kind of cold outside.
Yes, it is.
We got to take a quick break.
The world sees us as a lost cause. I don't, because I believe in the women of Afghanistan who have struggled so much. As a woman in Afghanistan, there is no identity, there is no autonomy, there is no self. It was through the needle and through the embroidery that they had to find sanity for their lives.
Why can't I even wear what I want? Why can't I have this freedom?
Well, what you just saw was an example of some of the work that BP's Be Peace does to lessen, if not end, violence and conflict-affected communities. And joining us now to share more about Be Peace is board director and film producer Lori Chalk, and Be Peace member and TV film producer Donna Kuznetskov.
Okay.
Did I get it right?
Yeah.
Gold star for Derek. Good to have you. Good to have you.
Thanks. Great to be
So
here.
share with us a little bit about what we actually just saw there.
That is a segment of a documentary that Dana and I produced in Afghanistan about the group of women in Afghanistan that Be Peace was working with. We call them fast runners. They are entrepreneurs. They were, this group, which is now, I don't know, 7 years ago, we started working with them, are women who own businesses that with the potential of growth.
And they are employers. And what you saw, this is a documentary called Thread, and we followed these women for about a year. We brought them to New York, we went to their homes, we met their families, and more importantly, we saw their businesses and we saw the potential that they had and the employers that they became.
And when you look at some of the employers that they've become, is it kind of, what are your take on that? Because you see them in one state moving to another. Give us a little bit about, your take on how they, on the transition, if you will.
Well, they're phenomenal. They are phenomenal women. And the reality is, culturally, they're limited. So no matter, we're in their homes and they're telling us they have 30 employees and they go from home to home picking up embroidered products to make whatever they're doing, pillows or shirts, but they're still culturally very limited. So sometimes their husbands have to go to the market for them and get silks, or their sons or their nephews have to go to the market for them because they're still limited. But what you saw was Thread, which was all about these women who are in the textile world. Now, so many years later, these women are doing amazing things.
So what we've seen in Be Peace, we've had a presence in Afghanistan since 2004. And the businesses that we have been involved in have changed significantly, particularly the businesses that women could be involved in. So right after the Taliban fell, the women were in sewing and embroidery businesses because that's all they could do.
Right.
They were working clandestinely in those businesses. Now we work with businesses that are in IT, that are in television production, that are, it's a full range of businesses, which is a measure of how the country has grown and
embraced change
since the Taliban fell.
And what Be Peace does is we are an organization of volunteers. We target these women and we work with them to train them, to help them build their businesses. It's not about money or microloans. It's really about time. And we say we're a pro bono consulting firm. And we marry some of these businesses with like businesses here in the States or really internationally, and train them, show them how to build their businesses and hone their skills.
And your goal is to create 1 million jobs across 1,000 communities.
And we're getting there.
So close, so close.
So, and we are in a number of different regions. So right now we're in Rwanda, and we're in Afghanistan, we're in El Salvador, and then we're in Guatemala, and looking for a 5th region as well. And in each one of these countries, each region has been impacted by violence. The idea is for us to say, okay, there's a lot of places in the world that have been impacted by violence, but where are there small, medium-sized businesses that are sustainable, where we believe with our interaction with those fast runners, the people who run these businesses, that there is the potential to create jobs, and where there really would be an impact of jobs and violence to alleviate, to mitigate violence. And each one of these countries is so different from the other in terms of the kind of violence and the kinds of businesses that are there.
What are the similarities that you find from country to country?
In my opinion, the women want change. And this is all, and Be Peace now opened up to men too, just like 2 years for now we've been.
About that, yeah.
But they want change. They don't want to live in fear. They don't want to live in these violent countries. They don't want to come home and worry about their sons and their husbands and their fathers. They want change. And the women are the ones that are creating these voices.
How hard is it, I guess you said, when you have these war-torn countries, you got these countries that are really experiencing violence and things like that, and we're talking about going to work, holding down a job, and doing stuff like that. Give us a little bit of insight in there, because this is not easy going to work every day when you're affected in this kind of way.
There's so many examples of how people work around violence. So, for instance, in El Salvador, where it's gang violence, There are people who go to work, who live in a gang-ridden neighborhood. So they're really sort of prisoners in that way of that neighborhood. They leave their neighborhood to go to work. The employers will, and then they're very vulnerable because they have a job, they have money. They're often mugged going back to their neighborhood. So what the employers will do is have, for instance, a bank account. They will put their salaries directly into the bank account so that they are not walking around with money.
Right.
Another employer will have beds. If they have to work later than what is considered a safe time to go home, they will make them sleep at the factory or wherever they're working so that they're safe. So it's it's baked into their existence, but also baked into the employer's experience is to protect their workers and to make this a safe environment for them. And so it's sort of fascinating how, these people who do live with violence, how they learn how to operate sort of within
it.
Mm-hmm.
We learned in Guatemala the employers were hiring the sisters and wives of gang members because they know they would be protected, and therefore their company would be protected. That was fascinating.
Wow. Wow, pretty interesting stuff.
It is.
So
they adapt.
Right.
And it's crazy they're adapting to violence, but that's what they have to do.
Right, and so bringing peace is definitely the
But
mission.
each one of them, every one of our fast runners firmly believes, really understands that job creation does have an impact on the community. And if they have a healthy community, people want to sustain that.
Mm-hmm.
And so it really does spread. It makes sense. I mean, it's hard to actually quantify it,
Right.
but it makes sense. I was just reading an article in Mumbai with all those horrible rapes. What they go first thing in that article is because these men don't have jobs, they have nothing to do, and so, they can do things like plan rapes. It all goes back to if you are gainfully employed, if you're happily employed, then there's idle people tend to do things that are violent.
Right. Now, without giving me specifics, do you have an idea how big the unemployment rate is in these war-torn countries? I mean, when you look at what's going on.
No, each one is different.
Yeah, and I don't think it's measured the way we measure it here in this country.
Okay.
I think it's just the way it is. They have nothing to do. Their commerce has been taken away. Their business has been taken away. Their communities have been destroyed. So they are slowly. And what we saw is look at the businesses that some of these people have started. They're all things that they could start in the home and grow from.
Mm-hmm. Before we get out of here, I want to talk about getting an opportunity to volunteer. What can people do?
BePeace.org.
Okay.
Right.
Capital B, word peace, PEACE.org.
Mm-hmm.
It's plenty of opportunity.
And what would a volunteer consist of? If somebody wants to do what can they do?
Well, you can do a number of things. One is you can be a mentor, and you can go in country if you have a particular expertise in assembly line expertise, and there's a factory in Guatemala that needs to, do something with with making their business run better.
Right.
Or there's plenty of stuff to do when you don't go in country, where there are people who help companies with logos, for instance, if you're a graphic designer. We have entrepreneurs who come to our country for a couple weeks of training, and so it's all. You're in a television studio. We have a number of filmmakers in Rwanda. We have television production in Afghanistan. So there's lots. I mean, there's the entrepreneurs and the businesses are so varied. So whatever business you're in, you just have to look and call and say, "This is my expertise. I could help you."
So the opportunity to volunteer is there. All they've got to do is contact BP.
You got it.
All right, Lori, Donna, thank you so much for
Thank
coming
you
and
very
sharing
much,
with
Darren.
us.
Thanks,
And we're
Darren.
glad to have you to come back and update us, okay?
Absolutely.
All righty. Well, we got to take a quick break.
Adopting a new pet is a rewarding experience. And Shelter Pets makes super pets. Your new best friend will steal your heart, bring you happiness, and enrich your life for years to come. You can make a difference in the life of an animal. Adopt and bring home a Shelter Pet today. To find out more, visit theshelterpetproject.org.
Sit with me, imagine what you'd see if every child had a book to read. So the mission is for us to get a book to each and every child. So let's join hands, book people unite, unearth hidden passion. Come on, we'll have a good time. One book can be the first that'll make helps to change a life. People unite.
Read to a child today and spark a lifetime of ambition.
You wouldn't let money just blow out of your house. So when your AC or heater is on, make sure the doors, windows, and fireplace flue are shut tight. If you're headed out, turn down the AC or lower the heat by 10 degrees. And always keep your water heater set at 120. A little bit of common sense goes a long way. Get more great tips at energysaver.gov.
Started her career right here as a BronxNet reporter, here to discuss her journey from BronxNet to bright lights of national television. We welcome the beautiful Darlene Rodriguez.
Hello.
Hello.
Nice to see you.
Likewise. Thank you so much.
I love this setup. You have a DJ and everything?
Yeah, DJ Vince Bracey in the house.
I'm so jealous.
We get to rock it here on Friday mornings.
Fabulous.
Thank you for being here with us.
Thank you for having me.
Oh my goodness, Darlene, you know, you're out there in the mornings. You've been out there for how long now on NBC?
I've been on NBC for 15 years.
15 years?
Yeah, hosting Today in New York for 10 years.
Nice, and congratulations
Yes,
on that.
Thank you.
And, you know, I just thought it would be inspiring for us to share with the viewers, as well as some of the interns that work here at BronxNet. As you can see, we have many that make this show happen.
Yeah.
The possibilities that lie ahead just by perseverance.
You know, it's interesting because as I was coming over here, and I know that you guys are celebrating your 20th anniversary. Congratulations. I was one of the first reporters here 20 years ago. So it's shocking to my system that my career is older than some of your production assistants and your PAs, right? Shocking.
Why wasn't I included in that list?
No, you are as young and beautiful as everybody else around here. What a great crew you have.
Thank
but
you.
I started, you know, when I graduated school, I didn't have a job, and there were no job prospects, and I wanted to be a reporter in TV in New York City. I'm from the Bronx, born and raised, and I heard that BronxNet was starting a cable station. And the way I got in here was I walked in, they were unpacking boxes, and I went right past the first gentleman who was sitting at the first desk, and I found your news director at the time. His name was David Medina, and I didn't have an appointment, and I didn't have a resume reel, and I had the only suit that I owned, and I sat down and I said, you know, I want to be a reporter here. And I think he was so taken by the fact that I had the audacity to kind of walk in off the street, literally, and he gave me a shot, and he gave me an opportunity, and I reported here for a year and a half.
Nice,
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah. So
And
sometimes you just have to take the back door and just be brave and give it all you have.
Nice. And, you know, I also wanted to share, just because we share a lot regarding women empowerment. And, you know, I know that you were raised by a single mom, and I'm sure she's, like, so proud of you now. And it just the endless possibilities of what it means to just, you know, kind of stick and hold to your craft, right, as you're saying, and, you know, do whatever it is that's necessary to basically make it happen, of course, with integrity, and how that impacted your way of being.
Well, it really was everything. I was raised by a single mother. She's the strongest, most intelligent woman that I know, and I'm in awe of her all the time. And I think what she gave me as a child, which is the key I found to a child's success, is that inflated even sense of self-confidence. And what she told me as a child, I believed. So I wanted to do this job that I have since I was 8 years old. And as far as my mother was concerned, that was what I was going to do. So I didn't really know anything else. I didn't know that there were barriers. I didn't know there were boundaries. I mean, I learned the hard way, but I always thought they were passable and breakable.
You know, I'm just going back now to the 20th anniversary,
Ooh.
which I know you were hoping I was going to, like, bypass.
Yes,
but,
okay.
you know, 20th anniversary, you started 20 years ago. What does that make you feel today?
Old.
It does. That's not what I was looking for as an answer. You don't look old. I got to tell you, you
Thank
look
you.
amazing.
That's very nice of you. Thank
Amazing.
you. Thank you. You know, I'm proud. I'm proud of what you guys have done. I'm proud when I come down here and see this setup. I'm proud that you are a force in the TV business and the news business, and that you get respect, and that you get great guests, and you do good work, and you do good stories, and you have great people working here. So I feel pride.
Thank you. Thank you. And thank you for carrying it with you.
Thank you.
Right? Because it's in your bio. And so people know that you started here.
Absolutely.
So from here, you went to WCBS Radio.
Yes.
Right?
Right.
And from there, you went to
WNBC TV. I was a radio reporter for 4 years. Because I love journalism, I applied for the radio job. And it was the same sort of thing. I had no experience in radio whatsoever. And that's a respected radio station here and around the country. And I learned the craft of journalism without the vanity of being on TV. I learned how to tell a story, how to write, how to hone my voice. And I think doing that for 4 years made me a better journalist. So when I got to TV, I was ready.
Right, not just about
It wasn't just about camera ready.
Right, right. That's nice. That's actually a valid point. And then, in closing, I just wanted to just share with everyone, I guess, some piece of advice that you, or insight that you could share with maybe some of the interns that are here, so that they can actually just live in this glory that you live in, right? I mean, you have a husband, you have 2 children, you have this wonderful job, although you have to wake up at the wee hours of the morning, which we didn't talk about that.
2:30 a.m. wake-up call.
But you're everybody's wake-up call. That's such an awesome position.
It's a privilege, and I feel very blessed. And I have a lot of people who help me. I mean, you know, my husband, my 3 kids, my mom, my whole extended family. It's a blessing. I think that for anybody wanting to get into this business, for anybody wanting to do it, we look at so many inspiring people. Nelson Mandela just passed away,
yesterday,
and so many quotes that come from him, right? And I think the general message was, don't be afraid to be great. Don't be afraid to go out and get something. Don't be afraid to not settle for what's in front of you. It's okay. You have to grasp it. And I think that the boundaries that are set or that we think are there, they're set by other people. So don't take no for an answer is really what I would advise young people.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It's nice to see you. Mwah.
Mwah to you too. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
For more on Darlene, you can check her out on Twitter at Darlene, the number 4 NY, or of course you can tune in to NBC weekday mornings from 4:30 a.m. to 7 a.m. We have to take a break, but we'll be back with more on this jam-packed episode.
Hi, I'm Michelle Kwan. One of the greatest things in my skating career is that I had a chance to meet people from all over the world. And when you spend time with people from other countries, your whole world expands. The great thing is you don't have to be an Olympian to experience different cultures and meet new people. In fact, you don't even have to leave your hometown. The U.S. Department of State brings tens of thousands of international leaders, professionals, students, and scholars to this country every year from more than 160 countries. Each exchange participant comes here to the United States, to communities large and small, to learn about our country from Americans just like you. Every participant on a State Department program creates an opportunity for you to get involved. It's as simple as meeting someone for coffee, picking them up from the airport, or hosting them for a traditional American dinner. Such a small gesture can mean so much, but they're not the only one getting something out of it. For many Americans, this is a great opportunity to bring the world to you, to get an insider's perspective on places that you may never have even thought about visiting. Every connection you make plants a seed, and those seeds grow over time, both here and abroad. In a world with too much conflict and misunderstanding, these connections, these friendships, inspire us to think beyond the boundaries of our everyday lives. All it takes is being willing to open your life up to someone, if only for an hour, to find out about specific opportunities in your community. Visit exchanges.state.gov/expandyourworld.
Sports fans, it's that time again for the Top Sports Headlines New York edition, as we remember the year that was 2013 and gear up for another here at BronxNet. So without further ado, here are the top 10 sports stories in Big Apple sports for 2013. Let's start with the bad news and hopefully work our way up to more cheer. It's been a rough year for New York sports. I can't remember as many playoff-less appearances. Coming in at number 10 has to be New York's sports struggles, culminating with no playoffs for the baseball and football teams to round out the year. Not to mention no titles in 2013 for the 4 major sports: baseball, football, hockey, and basketball. But There's always a champion to be crowned at Times Square every December thanks to the annual Heisman ceremony. This year it was Florida State's Jameis Winston. The freshman quarterback had the greatest rookie season in college football history, smashing many a record, including 38 touchdowns for the freshman. He takes the number 9 spot on my list of the top 10 sports stories in New York for 2013.
This is Bobby C. reporting from Times Square. For the second straight year, a freshman can lay claim to the Heisman Trophy.
I'm so overwhelmed right now, man. It feels great. It feels great to be a part of the family. And I just thank everyone with the Heisman Trust that allowed me to be in it. I mean, obviously this is a great feeling, but nothing will come from the feeling with me being vindicated. But this is a moment that I just want to clear all that. I really don't want to talk about that right now because this is a moment that I will cherish for the rest of my life.
Well, we tried to go about it because, I don't want to ever build someone up before he gets out there to the as I say, the lights are on the scoreboard and watch him do it consistently. And, we have great competition within practice. We had some great quarterbacks, but I think we just understood that, and he understood that, and wasn't trying to push it. And he is such a team guy that I think that was what really helped that, because he was just trying to fight for a starting job and then wants his team to win. And I think that overrid all of his individual games and his success, and I think that's what helped keep it down a little bit too. I really do.
I was proud, and when I looked down in the stands when I was giving my speech, I seen my mom's and my dad's eye, and they felt so proud. And I ain't seen that look in their eyes in a long time. And it's not that I feel complete because I'm still hungry because we got a national championship that we got to win. But when you see your mom and you see your dad, like when they've been struggling through this whole process, and now you see a smile on their face, it comforted me.
Aside from the Giants and the Jets, December was a great month for football here in the Big Apple. You had the Heisman ceremony, and who could forget the high school matchup of a lifetime at Yankee Stadium a couple of weeks ago. Let's relive the PSAL title game. Lincoln is number 8.
This is Bobby C. reporting for Bronx Nets Open. Yankee Stadium has become synonymous with the legends of the fall, but on one cold winter day here in the Bronx, it belonged to 2 high school teams and the local stars of the gridiron. And the game of local titans lived up to the billing. Although Lincoln High School senior quarterback Javon Spanky Moore sprained his ankle early, he and the number 1 Rail Splitters rallied to a thrilling 28-27 win at the big ballpark in the Bronx Tuesday. With a 17-day layoff building the anticipation of the matchup, number 3 Tottenville gave Lincoln a run for its money, leading late until the defining play of the game. The game was won after a high snap on a Tottenville punt was kicked out of the end zone for a safety, putting Lincoln ahead by a point with less than 5 minutes left. Although Tottenville would get one last shot at the end zone, Lincoln would hold on, clinching an undefeated season at 13-0 and its second city title in 3 years.
This team, right to the bitter, right to the end, that you tell them to run through a wall, they do it. On that fact, you're saying they're being easy, very easy. You tell them whatever to do. You tell them to be at practice at 2 o'clock, they ran 1:45.
A game of inches that proved dramatic and fulfilling on one end and crushing on the other.
I'm speechless. Like, me and my brothers, we deserved this. Like, we came out here full heart every week. We gave it our all. We always wear 13 on the back of our jerseys in practice, and like, this is what we deserve right now, and that's what our hard work pays off.
We were 13-0 for a reason. We didn't bow down to nobody. Play by play, down by down. We knew what we had to do. It feels, I don't know how it feels. This is crazy.
On the baseball diamond, the Yankees said goodbye to homegrown star Robinson Cano, who departed via free agency in the offseason. Cano signed a $240 million deal in Seattle, but the Bronx Bombers didn't let that disappointment keep them from making some offseason headlines in an effort to get back on top in 2014. The Yankees inked stars Brian McCann, Jacoby Ellsbury, and most recently Carlos Beltran. Here's the best of all 3 of those new additions. Presents under the tree just in time for the end of 2013.
For me, it's a great honor to be able to, come back to this city where I was a long time ago. I first came and, I learned about the city. I learned about, everything. And having the opportunity to come back again as a Yankee really means a lot to me. I grew up being a Yankee fan. Grew up being a Bernie Williams fan. And at one point, I was almost got the opportunity to sign with the Yankees and didn't work out. But at the end of the day, what is in the past is in the past. You know, I'm just looking forward to join this ball club. Looking forward to the challenges ahead. Looking forward to go out and perform.
We move to number 6 on my list of the top 10 sports stories in New York this year. 2013 was one special year for tennis star Serena Williams. You could make a case she followed up her best season of 2012 with an even better one this year. Williams won 11 titles and finished with a stellar singles record of 78-4. Wow. We caught up with her at the U.S. Open, where she was once again dominant, winning the title.
I just was out there trying to be focused, and when you see you have to go up against a former Grand Slam champion, meaning as in just a year and a half ago or 2 years ago, she was in the finals of the French, and then she won the French, so it's not very easy to see her on a draw like that. So you have to be very serious. You never know, and in this sport, you never know what can happen. Anything can happen, and that's why you have to enjoy every moment and enjoy every win.
The NBA season in 2013 featured the end of the 2012-13 campaign, which had the Knicks and Nets advancing to the playoffs, with the Knicks making an extended run until they faced Indiana in the Eastern Conference semifinals. Although it was a memorable run for both, expectations were far greater this year, with the Knicks coming off their number 2 seed and the Nets acquiring some new stars in Kevin Garnett and Paul Pierce for the 2013-14 run. But things have been off to a slow start for both teams. Still, there's always that highly anticipated matchup with the Knicks and Nets when they meet for the first time. That too came in December 2013, and it may not have lived up to the billing, but the rivalry continues nonetheless, with the Knicks taking the first matchup of the new season and the number 5 spot on my list. Our morning sports roundup takes us out to Brooklyn and the Barclays Center, where the New York Knicks took the latest clash with the Brooklyn Nets. Final score tonight, 113-83. Leading the way off the bench was Amari Stoudemire, and he had plenty to say about the Knicks and their win, which snaps their 9-game losing streak.
We played great on both ends. We played solid defensively. We got stops when we needed to. We rebounded the ball well. We played great offensively. Definitely understood that it was a big game for us. So it was a must-win situation at this point. I think now to really get this win under our belt, we feel confident again. Got to build on it.
In defeat, there was plenty of frustration in the Nets locker room. We caught up with Brook Lopez, who led the way with 24 points for Brooklyn, and Kevin Garnett, who had a rough night on the floor for the Nets.
We were there for maybe two and a half quarters tonight, and just we were out of it after that. I think it starts defensively. They got whatever they wanted. No one was there to help each other, I think. We didn't really help the helper at all. I'm completely a culprit of it. We were just out of sync on that side of the floor.
We're working through them, continue to work hard. We're showing progress in practice, and now we just gotta somehow transcend this over, man. We gotta carry over to what we do and what we talk about as far as schemes and things over to the game. And we're not doing a very good job of carrying it over.
Even in a sports year when the New York teams weren't able to give us much postseason success, there was still plenty of charity in the Big Apple, especially here in the Bronx. The 4th spot on my list goes to former Knick Allan Houston, who provided plenty of smiles with his jump shot, just the way he did when he starred for the Knicks. Knicks great Allan Houston made a career of game-saving shots, and on Wednesday afternoon in the Bronx, the former All-Star that used to light the stage that is Madison Square Garden lit the faces of those youth taking in a mini basketball clinic at Bronx Works Community Center on the Grand Concourse. This time, Houston's jumpers were more than game-savers. They were life changers.
We talk about mechanics, doing things the right way, and in life you can always do things the right way. It takes a lot of hard work to become a good shooter or good at anything, and we talk about sacrificing. What are you really willing to do and put into your goal to get to achieve your goal?
Organizers were delighted by his message, which included promoting life lesson terms like sacrifice, leadership, and legacy.
The kids need to see people that look like them and people that came from the places they come from go on to do wonderful things. So the fact that he came back and encouraged them to continue with their education and to keep believing in their dreams is amazing.
BronxWorks helps individuals and families improve their economic and social well-being. The Youth on Hand Wednesday were roughly ages 12 to 17 and seemed to really connect with Houston, now 42, and retired from playing the game he uses to teach life lessons about.
If I were to give that message to someone younger, I would use it because it's a very good explanation of life and how you go through things and how you're supposed to think of things. You're supposed to live life like happy.
And for those on Hand Wednesday, Houston's jumpers were even more empowering than ever before, even if some of the youth were too young to remember Houston, the player.
He's one of my new role models after today. He inspired me. The way he looks at things, his perspective, I like that. And he interacted with us. And he was just fun to be around.
When you have a voice, when you have something that you can give back, I feel like it's an obligation, and it's something you do because you got to love it, you got to embrace it, and to be able to look at them and see what they can be.
We're down to the final three. The Midsummer Classic earns the third spot on my top 10 list of Big Apple sports stories in 2013. Who could forget the All-Star Home Run Derby at Citi Field, and of course, the game itself, which was highlighted by an MVP finish for Yankee great Mariano Rivera. Let's look back at All-Star Week out in Queens.
2013 Citi Field All-Star Game. Let's go!
Oakland's Yoenis Cespedes felt right at home in Monday night's home run derby in the Big Apple. A last-minute ad by American League captain Robinson Cano. Cespedes had the final word. A truly remarkable start, 17 homers in the first round, paved the way for a total of 32, en route to topping Washington's young phenom, Bryce Harper.
I felt that I was really into a rhythm and felt that I could put on a show like I did tonight.
The two local stars, Mets third baseman David Wright and Yankees second baseman Robbie Cano, exited early. Cano gave his props to Cespedes, who helped lift the American League squad over the National League side.
What a show he put in tonight, so that's what you want. You pick your guys and just go out there and put a show for the fan, and we did.
Jose Cano, Robbie's father, a former major leaguer who pitched to him when he won the Derby in Arizona in 2011, was hoping for another title for his son, but in the end was simply happy to yet again take part in the festivities.
We're not going to win every time, so I'm glad, except for the win. It's the first year, an All-Star game, home run derby too, so somebody had to win.
There was plenty of power on display. Baltimore's Chris Davis was the favorite for many. He leads the majors with 37 home runs at the break.
Yeah, it's kind of mind-blowing. I think when you get a chance to step back and really look at it, you just appreciate, where you come from and where you are.
It was a homecoming for New York native Pedro Alvarez. The Pittsburgh All-Star, who was born in the Dominican Republic and raised in Washington Heights and the Bronx, has fond memories of his time at Horace Mann School. Like many of the other stars, he talked about how cool it is to be part of the All-Star fraternity.
I was just trying to have fun out there, and this is an unbelievable experience.
Monday night's memorable home run derby belonged to Yoenis Cespedes. The second spot on my list belongs to the Fordham Rams football team. They sure would have made the late, great Vince Lombardi proud. The Rams won 12 games this season, enjoyed a near-perfect run, one that included their first home playoff win, and by season's end, a 12-2 mark that wrapped in the second round of the postseason. Here's a look back at one of their memorable wins in 2013.
I thought we did an excellent job stopping the run, and front seven, and really as much as we get our safeties involved in run support, those guys are left as the last line of defense before the goal line. So those guys are do a good job, fitting runs and filling their gaps. And also a lot of credit has to go to our corners, because when you're playing that many guys in the box to stop the run and you're committed to stop a great running team like Sacred Heart, those corners are out there on an island. So it was a great team defensive effort. I was very proud of our guys.
And coming in at number 1, drum roll please, how about the Mariano Rivera Farewell Tour? Arguably the greatest closer in baseball history decided to hang up his spikes this season, and one day in September, he was given the proper send-off, culminating with one memorable night in the Bronx. Here's Mo, honored like the legend he is.
2 more members of the Core 4 said goodbye to the Bronx faithful this week, with Andy Pettitte making his final Bronx start following an abrupt retirement announcement Friday. The Yankees celebrated Andy on Mariano Rivera Day as the greatest closer of all time. Enjoyed his final homestand in pinstripes. As the pinstripers retired Mo's number 42 for good as a Yankee. The same number the legendary Jackie Robinson, who broke the game's color barrier, made iconic.
It'll be good.
Rivera, the last to wear number 42 after its retirement throughout the game in 1997, was lauded in a 50-minute ceremony that included visits from ex-teammates, the retirement of Mo's 42 in Monument Park, and a fitting performance by heavy metal rock band Metallica, who jammed Enter Sandman, Rivera's entrance song, on the outfield warning track.
What surprised me the most, oh my God, I mean, see the band there, Metallica down there, you know, I mean, playing the song. I mean, but the whole thing was special.
Talk about Mariano and Andy and what they brought, especially Mariano. It was a very quiet but powerful force in the clubhouse.
Mariano, when he finished talking to the media, he was done with it. And why was he like that? He told me that he gave it all out on the field, and he wouldn't change anything that he did about it. It just happens sometimes.
And you basically, you became a spectator. There was no more work to do for me. I just handed it to him and trusted he'd bring it home.
Pettitte was throwing a no-no through 5, but a couple of mistakes at the wrong time led to a 2-1 loss to San Francisco. Pettitte gave up a solo shot in the 6th, and when he departed in the 8th, reliever David Robertson allowed the inherited runner to come around and score. The loss was the only hiccup in a perfect day of tributes for Mo and Andy.
So, all that going through, but extremely frustrated that I would make a mistake like I did late in the game like that in a close ball game.
Want to go and help the team as much as you can, and I was ready for that. Unfortunately, it didn't happen, but yes, I was ready for it.
That's my top 10 for 2013. We'll see you next year.
You're managed by a young man by the name of Will Lockett.
Yes, we are.
Uh-huh. He can play, too.
Play what?
Golf. Golf.
We love you, Will. Golf, yeah.
Yeah, he's a golf pro. And he also runs we can say it, right? Yeah. He runs what?
The golf course, Van Cortlandt.
Van Cortlandt Park Golf Course, yes.
Bronx, baby.
Now, what does Jersey have to do with this?
I'm from Jersey.
Uh-huh. Jersey?
Plainfield, New Jersey.
Uh-huh. The Jersey style, Bronx what?
Jersey
Appeal.
style, Bronx appeal.
Bronx appeal, all right. And how'd you guys come together?
Ooh. Well, we were actually working with Will at the golf course. We were both doing our own thing musically. We came together, did a video. We sound nice together.
And Will said, wait a minute. You guys need to come together and do something special.
Yeah.
Yeah. He showed me, I really enjoyed the video. He showed me a video of you guys. I said, wow, let's bring him on. We have Music Mondays here on BronxNet.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah. Oh, we welcome you guys. So what's next for you guys? Where do you want to take this?
Well, really, I mean, we're not really too sure what's happening next. Like, if you would have asked us.
Just developing
Yeah,
before
just
your
developing.
eyes,
It's
right?
just happening. Like,
Yeah.
we're surprised we're even here right now. We're happy.
That's good. It gets better. Yeah.
So we're just going to master this, and another door will open.
Yeah.
So you have a number of songs that you put together?
Yes.
Yes.
And you have a number of videos, too? I saw one of them.
Yes, we have some stuff that we haven't put out yet.
And those videos are pretty hot.
Thanks. Thank you.
Do we have one of them here? Well, we'll check them out. We'll check. Where can we
you
go?
can go to west4thstreet.com. That's
West4thstreet.com?
Fourth, and you spell out street.com.
And what's the type of music? What's the appeal? And who are the people you're trying to reach?
Everybody, really. Our music is just feeling. We just go off. Like, we'll be in the studio, we'll come up with a quote, and then we'll just start rocking. Like,
go.
let's put verses to that. Let's find a beat.
Like the way you cook.
Yeah. I like the way you cook. Like the way you cook.
Oh, that's a whole
like
nother-
the way you cook. Like
That's
the
a
way
whole
you
nother
cook.
song. That's one that they're working on right now. All right, where can we go? West 4th Street?
.com.
So your goals, they're just coming along.
Yeah.
Everything's developing right now. Are there any artists that you look up to? Shout it out, Will.
Please.
Oh, MOP. Shout out to our MOP brothers. First Family.
First Fam.
Lays, we
Lays.
see you. We love you. You better be
We don't see
watching
you,
now.
but we see
Who are some of the artists that you look up to?
Female, I'd say Beyonce. Male, Eminem. But that's me.
Ooh, Beyonce just dropped her stuff too.
Without a
She's
warning.
awesome.
She
She just
just
did
like,
it.
bam.
That's a lot of people are using that style too. Just throw it out there.
No
Here I am.
commercials, no teasers, nothing.
Well, you can get to the point where you can do that too. Yeah. Build up that social media networking and all that stuff.
Oh, follow us on Twitter, West
There you
4th
go.
Street.
Yes.
And on
Instagram.
Facebook.
Did we miss
Instagram
anything, Will?
W4ST.
All right.
At
West 4th Street in the
W4ST.
house.
Wiggity West.
Wiggity West.
Wiggity West.
And you are.
Sweet Pea.
And you are.
Really Dynamite.
In the house, and they are West 4th Street. Give them a big round of applause, everybody. You're going to take us home with something, right?
Yeah, of
And let me
course.
do that, and then you do this. Unfortunately, that's all the time we have for today's show. I'd like to thank all of our guests for stopping by and joining us, our viewer, you, for tuning in. Thank you, thank you, thank you. If you missed any part of today's show, well, you can tune into an all-new, the recablecast comes on at 5 and then 10 o'clock, and then you can watch anytime on the web at bronxnet.org or the all-new episode on Wednesdays and Fridays. With Wednesday, you got Darren Jaime and you got Rena Valentine on Fridays. Thank you so much for tuning in and checking out. If you're going out shopping, holiday shopping, did you do your shopping yet?
No.
All right. Well, you'll get to it. Give that love if you can't give anything else. And always remember this, what you are is God's gift to you, and what you make of yourself is your gift to God. To choose your choice and let your choice control the chooser. I'll be on tonight on your 107.5 WBLS. Tune me in at 12 right after the Quiet Storm. I'm Dr. Bob Lee. From all of us here at BronxNet, have a great and enjoyable day and happy holiday. Take us home, West 4th Street. Yes, indeed.
Oh, one more.
Yo, Instagram is a liar. Yo, Instagram is a liar. Yo, Instagram is a liar. 5 nights you high, 12 more you on fire. Yo, Instagram is a liar. Yo, Instagram is a liar.
Lying to who?
Yo, Instagram is a liar. 5,000 you high, 12 more you on fire. West 4th Street, I'm repping. Go without discretion. We move in one direction. Biggity bums, you get
Biggity bump.
Gossip, I keep deflecting. I can't help it, I'm wrecking. Chickens, piggity pecking. You birds keep disrespecting.
I'm in some bullshit like Obama. You flourish in the drama. Come. Your mouth will get you killed like Jeffrey Dahmer.
Wiggity.
Word to my mama. In the air and out the other. Pillow talk salute the weapon, they call it the Danny Glover.
Yo, Instagram is a liar. Yo, Instagram is a liar. 5,000 you high, 12 more you on fire. Yo, Instagram is a liar. Yo, Instagram is a liar. 5,000 you high, 12 more you on fire. Yo, Instagram is a liar. Yo, Instagram is a liar. 5,000 you high, 12 more you on fire. Yo, Instagram is a liar. Yo, Instagram is a liar. 5,000 you high, 12 more you on fire. Don't bring the drama to my crew. We'll stickity stomp you. Jump in the whip right up on you, so we can be watching it. That's how we coming, so bring the higgity heat. Or get stumped out in the shiggity street.
60 seconds in a minute, 3,600 an hour. You think I have the time of day to be with a wiggity coward? So doubt it. Sometimes I'm nice and dandy and I'm sweet, but I'm sour. What's for loud, unique, yet discreet?
Yo, Instagram is a liar. Yo, Instagram is a liar. 5,000 you high. 12 more you on fire. Your Instagram is a liar. Your Instagram is a liar. 5,000 you high. 12 more you on fire. Your Instagram is a liar. Your Instagram is a liar. 5,000 you high. 12 more you on fire. Your Instagram is a liar. Your Instagram is a liar. 5,000 you high. 12 more you on fire.
Wiggity west, wiggity west, wiggity west, wiggity west, wiggity west, wiggity baby. Billy Dynamite, and Sweet Pea. I ain't got no.
Your Instagram is a liar. Instagram is a liar. Your Instagram is a liar. 5,000 you high. 12 more you on fire. Your Instagram is a liar. Your Instagram is a liar. 5,000 you high. 12 more you on fire. 12 more you on fire. 12 more you on fire.
Wiggity west, wiggity west.
Your Instagram is a liar. 5,000 you high. 12 more you on fire.
West 4th Street, baby.